Welcome to the fifth and final part of my Answering Questions for Atheists miniseries. Let's get right into it.
Who was Jesus?
This is a pretty difficult question. The only major source of information is some books in the Bible written by people who never physically met him and never witnessed anything he is claimed to have done. That means he could be anything from a fictional character to God incarnate, because the information is, at best, hearsay. The truth is probably somewhere in between. Much like the Roman Catholic Church likes to attribute miracles to people in order to make them saints, he was probably a teacher who ran afoul of the law, got crucified, and gained some miracle stories after the fact.
Why did his disciples die saying that he rose from the dead?
I'm going to assume that they believed it. I shouldn't have to tell you that it's possible for people to believe things that aren't true. A flat earther died trying to launch himself in a rocket to prove that the earth is flat. He quite literally died for what he believed in. He put his life on the line. If he could do that, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that some people could die defending Jesus' resurrection, so long as they believed it.
Why does the Bible keep lining up with archaeology?
It doesn't really. Oh sure, there are places in the Bible that really existed, but when writing a story that takes place in a real location with real landmarks that people would actually know about, it makes sense to be as accurate as possible. But when we look at evidence for a worldwide flood that was supposed to kill everything on land, we just don't see it. What we see are civilizations that apparently didn't even notice. Is there any archaeological evidence of the Hebrews being enslaved in Egypt? Nope. No evidence of 1 million or more spending 40 years wandering the desert between Egypt and Israel either. Not a broken pot, not a worn path, no stories coming from merchants or people who would have travelled through the region regularly of a massive group of people walking in circles for years. From the looks of things, less Bible literal researchers are starting to push a smaller group of people, just the Levites, leaving Egypt in a less spectacular fashion and taking a lot of Egyptian culture with them when they joined the rest of the Israeli tribes that were already in Israel. But that sliver of commonality doesn't line up with the Bible story.
Why do the three bloodiest regimes in history, Mao's China, Nazi Germany, and Stalin's Russia, come from atheistic ideas?
2 out of 3 ain't bad, I guess. Stalin and Mao seem to have been atheists at least, and promoted atheism heavily. Hitler, on the other hand, was against atheism, and while he was certainly negative towards the major Christian sects and other religions, he co-opted portions of Christianity. It seems, if nothing else, he was a theist. But even with being right about Stalin and Mao, I still don't think you're right about the point you're trying to make. Let's consider that these regimes took place in the past 100 years, where we saw both an explosion in populations and the technologies to kill each other. Imagine the Crusades taking place with modern weaponry and population numbers. They killed somewhere between 1 and 3 million people at a time where the world's population was around 300 million. That'd be the equivalent of 20 to 70 million now, just scaling it. We could probably pick out several more theist regimes in history that were relatively more bloody, including God-mandated genocides in the Bible, or just put them all together to make these terrible atheist regimes look like nothing. Christianity has caused so much war and bloodshed and suffering. They really have no place casting stones at atheism. And that's it. For anyone who watched all 5 parts, I hope I gave you something to think about, at least, even if you disagree with me on every point. I have at least one more video I plan to make on this atheism topic, and then we'll see how things go from there. Thanks for sticking around. Laters.